It's Roddy Mac in the house. Welcome to my house. Whoa, you got some arches. Roddy Mac, you've been holding out on me. How about we put some bling on them arches for Christmas? We'll put a couple wrapping trees, a dope matrix, and some bling on them. What's up? Hi, and welcome back to Lights by the Sea. This is the third and last part of our arch build. If you missed part 1 or 2, I'll link them up here in the upper right. Be sure to go and watch them. And also, be sure to stick around to the end of the video so we can watch the sequence of the arches from today. If you didn't build an arch, you can follow along and sequence with us. You don't need the arches to do the sequence. Sequencing lights is an art, and it takes a lot of patience to get it right. Me, building props and wiring up electrical panels is fun stuff. I'm an engineer and programmer at heart. I like to build things and make them do cool stuff. The right side of my brain just doesn't work the same. I love art. I collect art. I'm just not great at creativity. So I have to work harder when it comes to sequencing. One tip that has really helped me with sequencing, and specifically timing, was given by Tom Betgeorge. What he basically said was rough out the sequence, meaning just put in some simple effects, such as solid color. You can come back later and add cool effects. Music selection is also important. Pick songs you like. For me, I like songs that go with the season. So, during Christmas time, I'm going to play some Christmas songs. Since we will only be sequencing some arches, I was inspired by some classical music, specifically Blue Danube by Johann Strauss. It's a waltz with rising and falling tempo that reminds me of leaping fountains. In our case, leaping arches. Before we get started, make sure you have XLights downloaded and installed. I show you how to do that in a previous video. It's called Planning for a Show, and I'll link it in the upper right over here. Also wanted to share a quick tip with you about using music in your YouTube videos, just in case you want to share your Christmas or Halloween sequence later with us all. Many people in the forums frustrated by YouTube and moving over to Vimeo since they were given copyright strikes and removed from YouTube. We can avoid this, and I'll show you a couple ways how. The first way to avoid this is to use free music that YouTube provides us. Type youtube.com/audio library into your browser. Now let's search for Blue Danube. As you can see, Blue Danube is actually provided by YouTube for free download. So I'm just going to download it real quick while we talk about the second way. If the music you want to use does not show up in the free library, you will need to search the Copyright Policies Music section of YouTube. Click on the link at the top of the page that says Have Different Music in Your Video. I'm thinking of using Pentatonix' Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy for Christmas this year, so let's go look it up. It shows blocked in 249 countries. Let's see if the US is one of those. Yes, it looks like it is blocked in the US. Well, guess I'm not using that one for Christmas this year, or at least not sharing it on YouTube. Looking at Carol of the Bells, however, it is good to use, and YouTube will stick some ads in my video. Maybe I'll do that one instead. If the search does not return a result for a song you want to put in a video, I would strongly recommend not posting it in YouTube. Stick with ones that are listed in this copyright list. Finally, to be extra cautious about your music in your video, also credit the song and artist either at the start or end of your video. This will ensure the YouTube bot picks up the music and will provide you with proof if you later want to dispute your copyright infringement. Alright, enough of that legal mumbo jumbo. Let's get to sequencing. It's going to take us a long time in a galaxy far, far away. Fire up XLights. I normally have a sandbox directory set up just for playing around with props. Since it's spring break, we're going to put our arches on the beach. I should have gotten a couple of models in the shot. Okay. Let's start drawing some arches using the Arch tool. We'll start with the big arch. Just select the Arch tool and pick a spot on the left to draw the arch. The arch is 75 pixels. Actually, it's 25 nodes with 3 lights per node, but we'll fix this later. Now we can draw the middle arch. You can select both the arches, then right-click to align them horizontally and to the bottom. Next, we need to change the starting point for the middle arch from the green square to the blue square, since we wired it to the end of the big arch. Let's draw the small arch and move it into position next to the other two arches. Almost forgot. Go back to the middle arch and change it to 51 nodes, and we'll make the small arch 24 nodes. Again, remember it's actually 17 nodes with 3 lights per node for the middle arch, and 8 nodes with 3 lights per node for the small arch, and we'll change these later. Now select all the arches and align them. Repeat this process for all the remaining arches. I have not found a consistent way to bulk copy and paste multiple select models. If you know how or have any ideas, please leave them in the comment below. Now that the arches are complete, let's lock them in place. Now we will also group the arches into a big, medium, and small arch group. Right-click anywhere in the model area and select Create Group. Create the big arch group. In the model definition area below, select each of the big arches and click the green arrow to move them into the group. Repeat this process for the medium and small arch groups. We'll also create an all arch group. Create the group, then add all the arches to the group. Save the layout. All of our models are built, and we are ready to start creating a sequence. Select the Sequencer tab, then select Create Musical Sequence. Now browse for the Blue Danube MP3 file we downloaded earlier. Open the file, and now select 40 frames per second for the sequence settings. Then click Quick Start. XLights will bring in all your models and the music track. Let's play the track and get an idea of the music. When sequencing, I like to break it up into small 20 or 30-second chunks. Zoom into a smaller section. Now let's create a couple timing tracks. I like a standard bar timing track and a manual track. For the manual track, I put manual timing bars by pushing the T key during playback. So now, I'll play back and make marks when I hear the wind instruments play against the horn. Each time I hear the wind section come in, I'll press the T key to create a timing mark. I'll let this play through a little bit as you watch me create timing marks. The shimmering sound coming from the violins at the beginning of the song will fit in perfectly with some shimmering of the arches. So let's create a shimmering using sparkles on the arches. Select the On effect and leave the default white color. Change the sparkle level to something like 125 and change the transparency of the effect to 99. This will provide a shimmer to all the arches. Let's see the results in a preview. Next, let's add a timing track for the horns and manually mark where we hear the horns. Again, run the playback and hit T when you hear the horns in tune. As each horn sounds, we can turn on a small arch. Choose the On effect and put it on each of the small arches. We can keep all the arches on by adding the effect to the small arch group. The single strand is nice to create a leaping chase effect, so let's create one and put it on the middle arch. Copy this over to each of the middle arches. Make sure your single strand setting is for one chase that's 25 in size. I'll play back so we can see how those leaping arches look. I still hear those violins shimmering in the background, so I think I'll carry those shimmering violins through my sequence. We've now gone through the bars for the horns and the wind section, which repeat a few times in the opening of this song. So we can now copy and paste the whole section and just tweak it to our timing marks. We'll paste it into the big arch section. Select the new timing, which is empty, and you can use the rubber band selector around all your effects. Hit Ctrl-C to copy effects. Now open the horns timing track and select the correct timing mark and hit Ctrl-V to paste the effects. For the copied effects, move them into position based on the timing marks. Also, you can change the color of the effects for the big arches section. Now that you have the effects for small and big arches for the same bars of music, you can copy and paste this a few times since the bars repeat. Have some fun and change the arch colors and styles of the single strands effects. Now that we have our sections copied over, let's play back this section and see what it looks like. Here's a fairly intense part of the song where all the winds are rising loudly. I'll put a fire effect on the arches. Notice how even with the fire effect on the arches, we still see the single strand and on effect. That is because XLights renders from top to bottom. I'm going to jump to a lively part of the song. This section sounds playful, with winds competing against horns, so let's add a playful effect. When it comes to arches, you have to get creative with effects. Just spend time playing with the different effects and settings until you see something you like. I decided to go with the spiral effect. It seems to represent the music well. The final step will be to go to the setup section and set up the connection to our Falcon Pi player. I'll put in the IP address and set unicast for my Falcon Pi player. I'll make the starting universe 100 and we'll have 10 universes. That should be plenty of channels for our lights. Based on our selections, XLights will create the channels. Next, head over to the Layout tab. We're only going to need to set arch 1 since we've linked all the other arches to the first arch. Set it up for port 2, WS2811. And we'll make the start channel absolute. We'll make it 100:1. Now we're ready to connect to the Falcon Pi player. Select Tools, then FPP Connect. It will find your Falcon Pi player. Now, select your model and your sequence and choose the Upload button. As a final check, go to your Falcon Pi player and select the Pi pixel string outputs. Look at your outputs and double check that your model is correct. The part series on arches is now complete. I've shown you how to build the arches, how to build the controllers, and now how to finally sequence those arches. Next week I'll be out, probably on vacation or something, or maybe working. Not sure. One way or the other, I'll be out. However, after that, we'll come back and do something fun. Maybe compare some pixels and how they look on the house, or build a star prop or something like that. Lights is a powerful tool with many options and settings to help us create lighting art. I'm fairly new to sequencing, so if you have any shortcuts, tips, or tricks, please post them in the comments below. If you like this video, please like it, and even better, share it to Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media outlet that you frequent. Please hit that subscribe button and bell to bookmark this page and get notification for future episodes. Once again, I'm Robert Donlin, and this is Lights by the Sea. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So let's get started.